Prince created his own band, and he called it Grand Central. One of Prince's closest friends he said that when he first saw Grand Central, he couldn't tell who the lead singer was, because the other musicians, the band members that Prince chose, were just as equally as talented as him. And I say this because this kind of gives a little bit of framework in how good Prince was at choosing band members and other musicians to learn from, to collaborate with, to work with. By the time he leaves high school, though, he quits the band, and he fully recognizes in himself his talent. But he also recognizes that in the world of work and career, he wasn't made to do anything else but music. So he doubles down, and believing in himself, he sets out to make his dreams come true. He would eventually meet up with a young studio owner by the name of Chris Moon. And when Chris Moon meets Prince, he can't believe it. In the sense that here's this young dude who's mastered, again, as much as you can, all these different instruments, had his own band, knows how to write and compose his own music, and he's like 18 maybe at this point. So he's like, yo, I gotta get up on this. This is a big deal. He starts sending demos out. And eventually, one of these demos would reach an up-and-coming manager by the name of Owen Husney. Now, Owen Husney Owen Husney said that when he first heard the demo, he recalled hearing the melody and thinking it was good, hearing the drums and going, this guy's really good on these drums. And then he heard the guitar and he was thinking, okay, this guy on this guitar is really, really good. In fact, him and the drummer are like perfect, like perfectly synced. And he's like, I gotta know who this band is. And then he said when he heard the voice, the singer, he was just blown away. He's like, this perfectly sets in this song. He's like, musically, the song is, but he's like, there's so much potential in this band. He's like, I gotta fucking know. I got to know who this is. Who this is. That's what he said. I mean, that's not what he said, but that's what he said. So he calls up, it was so long ago, we're talking like the 70s, so he probably sent out pigeon. He probably wrote, my dearest Chris Moon, wherefore thou? Okay, he did not send a pigeon with a message, but he called them and he was like, I need to know who this band is. Like, I need to know. And Chris was like, okay, sit down. Literally, I need you to sit down. And Owen was like, look, I know we're on the phone. So, but you look in the mirror. I'm a big deal, huh? I don't sit for no one. Me no city, okay? And Chris was like, I don't know what's wrong with you, but you should sit maybe call a doctor, but you should sit. And so Owen sits and he goes, this is one person. And Owen says, what? And Chris says, yeah. One dude. In fact, one kid. He's like 18, 19. And his name is Prince. And Owen was like, okay. We're gonna do this. this guy's something special. And so, by 77, by 1977, Prince has his first six-figure deal with Warner Brothers. You know, just that Warner Brothers. Not a big deal at all. Just a WB. Now, when Prince first releases, that's a weird way to say it. When Prince releases his first single, For You, it wasn't hailed a genius work. It wasn't a commercial success by any means. Essentially, it was just a song. And not to down it, because without it, we obviously wouldn't have all these other fantastic works done by his royal purpleness. But essentially, Prince's friends, people who are a lot smarter and know a lot more than I do about Prince, saying that they believe that was Prince saying, "Here I am." It wasn't meant to be a success. It was like a nice knock at the door. And when you put on the headphones, you're kind of peeking through the door, and he's saying, "It's me, Prince. Shit's about to get real." And that's what that song was. But by 1979, the world is ready for something different. In one hand, you have disco about to swan dive out of existence in popular mainstream. On the other hand, you've got like punk and stuff taking off, new wave. Well, not punk, not taking off, but it's becoming new wave. And punk is still growing, but it's shifting and becoming other things by this point. And the world is in this weird, it's not stagnant place, but it's ready for something else. It's ready for something different. And here comes Prince with "I Want to Be Your Lover." Now, if you don't know this song, you should probably listen to it, because I'm not judging you, but I would prefer you just turn this off and go do something else. You shouldn't be watching this. I mean, it's kind of rude. Don't turn it off. But listen to the song. It's absolutely amazing. One of my favorites. One of my parents' favorites, actually. I remember hearing it a lot growing up. One thing about this song, though, first of many commercially successful songs, it went to number 1 on the soul charts. But of course it's number 1 on the soul charts, because niggas know music. I don't know why I did that. But anyways. Prince was very shy. I mean, I get this. Growing up with the shit he grew up with, like, nigga was shy. I'm shy. I don't like it. But here I am, trying to not be that way. But in essence, it's about Prince. Being shy, he liked to do all the work himself. He liked to do it inside, keep it to himself. He liked the control, I guess. One thing I heard, he was a control maniac. But like myself, I like doing things, alone. But you realize that he realized that that's not going to translate on stage. Yeah, on the radio, you couldn't tell. Owen Hudson, you couldn't tell. It was one dude. You see what I mean? You can't tell that when you're listening to the song. But if you're at the show and one dude is just on like a piano, I mean, don't get me wrong, that shit would be ill, but it wouldn't translate as well. And to do a callback to high school, Prince sets out to create a band. And we all know this band as The Revolution. And Prince's genius, once again, shines here because he wants to take over the world. Okay, Tony? I want the world, Chico. The world. And that's what Prince wanted, and he knew to cross over and to be mainstream, in a sense, he needed a band that gave all the colors. He had white people, Hispanic, black. I'm pretty positive Asian too. Given one of the guys in the band his cultural heritage. But that's another story. And it wasn't just men, it was women. It was the walks of life that everybody has. And that's genius because it touches on another absolutely legendary band and artist, Sly and the Family Stone. And again, if you haven't heard of Sly and the Family Stone, you should probably just Google that after you're done with this. But that was also a band that had different cultures and both sexes. But yeah. How do I put this? He knew that you had to live the persona in a way. He knew that he had to be believable, that he was this rock star, that he lived this life. And as such, he told his band members, I need you to create a rock star persona, and I need you to live that persona. Literally. In fact, one of the band members said that when he told her this, she remembers completely just like becoming her persona. And at times she would wake up in the morning, throw on some cowboy boots and a neon thing or whatever, and have feathers in her hair and go into the lobby, get some coffee, and just people would look. And she realized like that's what Prince wanted. And it was weird at first, but you kind of started to like it and realize that you stood out. And again, that's what Prince wanted. He wanted to stand out. And one thing here that makes a lot of fucking sense, a lot of sense, is that when they asked him what he was going to create, what he was going to be, he looked at them and said, I'm going to be pure sexuality. Now, if you think about this, and you think about Prince, you realize what he was going for. He was being very androgynous. He was being the fine line in between the male and the female. I mean, here you have this, I'm not gonna lie, beautiful man who is wearing high heels, bikini bottoms, and like a trench coat and a muscle shirt. And you're like, what? This is amazing. I don't understand why I like this, but this is different. And that's what he was going for. He wanted to play sexuality, pure. And if you think about that, if you think about the pureness of that, it would have to mean that there was no gender to that. Like sexuality is just the thing. Men and women feel this. It's just a thing. And he was just being the thing. And I love it. I love that because in a weird way, all the things that he grew up with, all the things that he saw is quite literally coming out of him. And he's Prince. And one thing about this is that this is going against every African American stereotype at the time. At this time, the only people and musicians that were bending these lines like Bon Jovi or Iggy Pop was coming from the Caucasian mainstream community. And that's no dig on them, but that's just how it was back then. And Prince challenged that, and maybe not even meaning to. But without him, we wouldn't have motherfuckers like Lenny Kravitz. I mean, sometimes I troll Lenny Kravitz. And I'm like, Dad, why aren't you answering? I'm pretty sure I've been blocked from his Instagram. But you see what I'm saying? We wouldn't have so many greats, but because of someone who decided to to be something different, but be the thing he was. He was accepting who he was. A shout out to the House of Dank and say thank you very much for sponsoring this episode of the podcast and supplying me with the delicious necessities to keep me going while doing my research and doing this podcast. So thank you for being a huge help and a huge support